The story begins with a man named Virgil who is traveling on a train. His life is not going well at all. At every turn, he faces difficulties. It turns out he is heading to a deserted town, where he has to start a new job. On the train, he is sitting alone eating food, and in front of him sits a woman with her child. Seeing her situation, Virgil gives her some food. When he gets off at the station, the whole place is empty. However, the company had told him that a man named Keith would be there to pick him up. Virgil looks around and then spots a man inside a room. He tries to talk to him, but the man ignores him. Virgil asks him where the bathroom is, and the man just points with his hand. Virgil gets irritated but stays quiet and goes to the washroom. While he is inside, he hears a man outside telling him to hurry up, saying that even water costs money here. This man turns out to be Keith, the one who's supposed to take Virgil to the company. Virgil replies that he is done and is just coming out. They both get into the vehicle and head towards the company. On the way, Keith says, "You'll have to pay $300 for the travel." Virgil, surprised, says, "But the company told me it would be $200. Keith angrily responds, "If you can pay $300, fine, otherwise get out." Virgil thinks he has no other option, so he agrees. After a while, the heat becomes unbearable. So, Virgil tries to turn on the AC, but Keith immediately shouts, "Don't touch the AC or the engine will break down." Suddenly, one of the car's tires gets punctured. Keith does nothing himself and instead tells Virgil, "Come on, you change the tire." Virgil, helpless, starts changing it. During this, he notices one dog attacking another dog. Seeing this, he gets very scared. Keith comes over and tells him not to worry because this happens all the time. Then he kills the wounded dog himself so it won't suffer anymore. With great difficulty, Virgil manages to change the tire. Then both of them get back in the car. At night, they stop to refuel and decide to spend the night there. They both start gathering wood to light a fire. Keith asks, "Why are you going so far to that company?" Virgil replies that his life has been really tough. He doesn't want to depend on anyone, and he is sure that the company will give him a good job. Keith says that Virgil is a good man, but the place he is going will suck the life out of him, and an honest man can't survive there. Virgil answers, "Well, let's see what happens." The next day, their journey continues. This time, Virgil is driving while Keith falls asleep. Because of the intense heat, Virgil quietly turns on the AC. And after a while, the engine breaks down. Keith wakes up and angrily shouts at Virgil, asking if he hasn't told him not to touch the AC. Furious, Keith steps out of the car. Virgil also gets out and apologizes, but Keith becomes even angrier. "Shut up, I don't want to hear your voice." After that, Virgil goes off to pee. A little distance away, he spots a shining rock. Curious, he looks closely and realizes, it's pure gold. He immediately calls Keith to check it out, wondering if he's dreaming. Keith sees the rock and is shocked. He takes out a lighter, lights it, and holds it near the stone, saying that if it turns black, it's just ordinary, but if not, it's pure gold. The rock stays the same, proving it is gold. Both of them get excited and start unloading their equipment. They begin digging, trying to extract the gold. But even after using all their strength, the rock doesn't move an inch. Keith tries tying the gold rock to the car with a rope to pull it, but the rope snaps because the gold is too heavy. Still, they keep working. All day they dig and struggle, but the rock remains firmly in place. As the sun begins to set, Keith tells Virgil to quickly gather wood, warning that wild dogs are roaming around and will attack at night. But if they light a fire, the dogs will be scared away. Both of them collect wood and light a fire. Overjoyed, they start playing music and dancing. Keith hugs Virgil and says, "I'll get you a car with full AC." That night, they sit down to make a plan. Keith says the gold rock is huge and that even if they dig for months, they won't be able to get it out. So, one man will stay near the rock while the other goes to bring help. Virgil tells Keith to go and bring the digging machine while he stays to watch over the gold. But Keith replies that Virgil should be the one to go, since he will stay with the gold and protect it from wild animals in the desert. But Virgil insists that he will survive, thinking that Keith is a thief who might run away with the gold, so he can't be trusted. Keith sighs and agrees to go, leaving Virgil to take care of the gold. The next day, they divide the rations. Keith gives Virgil a satellite phone so they can stay in contact. Keith says that one of his friends has a digging machine and that he will bring it. He tells Virgil to pray the car doesn't break down on the way, since it might take him 5 days to return. With that, he leaves. Virgil covers the gold with dirt so that no passerby can see it. He also sets up a small tent near the gold rock and puts all his belongings inside. Before sunset, he gathers wood so he can light a fire at night. When night falls, he lights the fire and sits beside it. He eats a little from his food supply and saves the rest. Suddenly, he hears the howls of wild dogs. It hits him that, being alone, he is an easy target. Fearful, he grips his knife and falls asleep. The next morning, the blazing sun wakes him. He feels extreme heat and exhaustion, with little sleep and the scorching sun burning his skin. Just then, the satellite phone rings. Virgil runs to it, but the call disconnects before he can answer. He sits in the tent, staring at the gold and dreaming that the first thing he will buy after selling it is a big house. Later, Virgil wanders around the nearby area. At some distance, he finds a crashed plane. Excited, he goes to check it out and even thinks about staying there. But from that spot, the gold rock is out of his sight. So, he carries some plane parts back and builds another shelter near the rock. Virgil decides to rest a bit to conserve water and recover his energy. But suddenly, he hears noises outside, like someone is trying to steal the gold. He rushes out, but finds nothing. The gold rock is still exactly the same. He sits near the rock. Then an idea strikes him: why not break off a piece of gold? Virgil picks up a stone and starts hammering at the rock. He manages to break off a large chunk of gold, cleans the dirt from it, and keeps it with him. Just then, Keith calls. Virgil asks where he is, saying the sun has ruined him. Keith replies that the engine has broken down and he will be a bit late. Virgil begs him to hurry, saying he will die of thirst. Keith responds that it will take a few more days and then ends the call. That night, Virgil sits by the fire when wild dogs begin howling all around. He fears they might attack together. So, he grabs a burning log in his hand to scare them away. Because of the fear, he stays awake the entire night. The sun rises. He wants to sleep, but the sun has scorched his skin, burning him so badly that he can't rest. He goes to drink water but finds very little left. At that moment, he sees a snake slithering toward him. He tries to kill it so he can eat it, since his food is almost gone. But while killing the snake, his water bottle falls, spilling most of it. Only a little remains. He then heads back toward the crashed plane area, hoping to find something to eat or drink. Suddenly, he sees a person approaching from a distance. Alarmed, he quickly hides inside the plane. But the person comes closer and calls him out. As the figure approaches, Virgil realizes it's a young woman who wants to talk to him. But he refuses to speak with her. She asks what he is doing there and why he chose this place. Virgil says nothing and stays silent. After a while, he tells her she can stay inside the plane, while he walks away. The girl calls after him, accusing him of hiding something, then begins following him until she reaches his camp. Again and again, she asks how he ended up there. Virgil starts to panic, thinking he needs to get rid of her before she sees the gold. He turns to her and asks why she is following him, insisting there is nothing there for her. Virgil tells her to leave the place. But the girl replies that she won't go until she finds out why he is trying to drive her away, insisting he is definitely hiding some secret from her. At that very moment, her eyes fall on the gold. She realizes the truth and says that he wants to claim all the treasure for himself and take it alone. She tells him she won't leave until she gets half of it. Virgil becomes furious. He grabs a stick and strikes her on the head. She dies instantly. Virgil is left in shock, unable to believe that his greed just drove him to kill someone. Slowly, he regains his composure, gathers her valuable belongings, digs a pit, and buries her body. A little later, he sees a dog trying to dig up the grave. Virgil runs over, drives the dog away, pulls the body out, and sets it on fire to burn it completely. The next day, he is woken up by the ringing of the phone. He answers the call and tells Keith that he is starving to death, warning that if he doesn't come soon, he will die of hunger and thirst. Keith replies that he is sorry and knows he is suffering badly, but explains he is coming as fast as he can. The digging machine is very slow, and it will take a bit more time. Virgil becomes restless. His condition worsens from hunger and thirst, and he fears wild animals might attack him. A little later, he sees a car passing on the road. He thinks, why not take a chunk of gold and escape now? But his greed for more gold stops him. He could have taken a small piece and changed his life, yet the desire for more keeps him stuck. Before night falls, Virgil goes to gather wood. But suddenly, a violent sandstorm hits. He runs toward his tent, but the storm blows it away. Virgil tries to save himself, running desperately, but a tree falls on him. When the storm ends, Virgil finds himself buried in the sand, with a piece of wood impaled straight through his stomach. Yet, his mind is so consumed with greed for the gold that instead of helping himself, Virgil drags himself straight toward the place of gold. He searches all around and finally finds a piece. Overjoyed, he lifts it up in delight. Then he pulls the wood out of his stomach, and blood gushes out of the wound. He tears a piece of cloth to bandage it, but the bleeding doesn't stop. Out of desperation, he lights a fire, heats a piece of metal from a tin, and presses it to the wound to cauterize it. The pain is so unbearable that he faints. After a while, he regains consciousness, only to see the vision of the same girl he had killed earlier. She appears everywhere around him. His mind starts spinning. He can't tell if it's real or just his imagination. Suddenly, the phone rings. It's Keith. Sam cries out that he keeps seeing the girl everywhere. Keith asks what girl and warns him not to let anyone find out about the gold. If someone has found out, Keith tells him to kill them. But Virgil is in no condition to kill anyone. He can't even stand. He crawls on the ground, too weak to answer properly. Suddenly, the girl appears again, but this time there are no wounds on her face. She offers him water and says she wants to help, but Virgil, blinded by greed for gold, refuses her. Trembling with fear, he mutters that he killed her and begs her to stay away. The girl then asks only one thing: if her twin sister passed by there. At that moment, Virgil realizes it isn't a hallucination. She really is the sister of the woman he killed. He stammers that he hasn't seen anything and tells her to just leave. Without another word, the girl walks away. A while later, wild dogs begin to surround him, growling and closing in. Terrified, Virgil immediately calls Keith. He cries out, begging to know where Keith is, and pleading for him to come quickly before the dogs kill him, saying he is going to die. But Keith calmly tells him to hold on, assuring him he is almost there. But before help can arrive, the dogs pounce on him. One by one, they tear into him, ripping him apart. And then, we see Keith, sitting at a distance with binoculars, watching everything unfold. Actually, he had arrived there with the digging machine days ago. He was simply waiting for Virgil to die. Keith had been waiting all along so that he could take all the gold for himself. From his hiding spot, he watches as the wild dogs drag Virgil away. Even in his final moments, Virgil's eyes remain fixed on the gold. The dogs then tear him apart, ripping him to pieces. Once Keith is completely sure that Virgil is dead, he drives up with the vehicle to collect the gold. But suddenly, an arrow strikes him directly in the chest, and he too dies. The one who shot the arrow is none other than the twin sister of the girl Virgil had killed earlier. The story ends here.